Hi, KMS. Mrs. Hines here. So today is January 26th, Tuesday, and it's our second day in our Robotics and Automation unit. So yesterday, you should have began by starting a Robotics and Automation page in your tech portfolio. So in your Google Drive, you're going to need to find your tech portfolio, open that up, and you're going to edit so that you add a page for robotics and automation. We did this yesterday, so I'm just going to open this up real quick. Your robotics and automation page, please change the image so it does have something to do with robots. This is a robot that I helped build. Please add a text box so that you're including the link to how to get to this virtual robot that we're using. When we're programming our VEX robot in school, it'd be very similar to this. That's why we're using this site. I would ask that you're going to add this as well today. What is a programming language? This programming language that we're using is called, it's a block code language, so it's color coded and it looks pretty. Different languages such as Python, C++, Java, these are all different languages that basically set of rules in which the robot follows, right? It's just following directions step by step. So we can add that. In our robot here, the drivetrain power, it's usually set to 50%. So we found out yesterday that you could drive faster, meaning more power, if you increase the velocity. So that's why our first lesson had to deal with using the Castle Crasher map, and you drove into it, so hopefully you knocked over things. So when you open your VEX back up, your code that you did yesterday will still be there. So you may have saved this project. There's no dashboard, right? So if I click on playground, it's going to open the same playground that I last had open. So if you do need to screenshot anything, kind of now is the time. So this window, you can move it around, but this is your playground. This is going to show you what your robot does, the behavior of your robot. I like to look at the third person angle when I'm viewing my robot. So when I hit the play button, it's going to show what this robot does. Okay. So you can screenshot that, put it on your code. I'm just going to scooch this off, and I'm just going to put this off to the side. I'm going to add different code for today. So today we're going to pretend like we're starting scratch here. So please change your map to be a grid. Okay, just a plain grid. And I want to show you how your robot is moving. So you just need to view the top view. You don't really need to do any other views. We're going to use this thing under looks, and it's called just the pen. We're going to have the pen be down when it starts to move. Your robot will start in this corner, and I would like you to draw a square. How would you do that? So you're going to get your robot to drive forward for a certain amount of time. Okay. After your robot drives forward, let me just show what that looks like. Right, it drove forward that far. Would you like your square to be bigger? That's how far 200 millimeters is. Okay, if you change this to inches and you leave it 200, watch the difference. I'm going to reset it. 200 inches is very, very different than 200 millimeters. Okay, it'll keep going forever, so I'm going to stop this so it doesn't break. So I would like you to, it doesn't matter what unit, but just stay in the same unit. Okay, I'm gonna keep it in millimeters, and I'm gonna change this to say 600, just to see what happens. So again, it has the pen down, that's why it's leaving a trail. So that's 600. If I want to draw a square, I would have to turn which way? Right. So I'm going to turn right 90 degrees. I'm now going to reset my code and run my code again. My robot's driving straight, turning. Now, some of you would say you can take this bit of code and you could duplicate it like you did in Scratch, duplicate again, and this would make it drive in a square. Let's see. Drive straight, turn, drive straight, turn, drive straight, turn, drive straight. That is one way to drive in a square. You would be correct, right? You wouldn't be wrong. A more efficient way would be to do with some controls, right? So that's why we use these things in coding, is we can repeat and have the code look shorter but do the same thing. So if I wanted it to be a square, I would drive straight and turn how many times? Well, there's 4 sides in a square. So now let me reset and see if this code does the same thing. Excellent. And then once it stops running, I know that my code is done. It does the same thing. So what I'd like you to do today, folks, is draw a square, the most efficient way possible, okay? So you just need to drive forward and turn and put that in a repeating loop of 4 times because that's how many sides a square has. You're gonna screenshot this and add it to your Google site, okay? The other thing that I'd like you to do after you do that is change up the pen color perhaps. So over here, you can actually set the pen to different colors. So the robot pen can be perhaps green. And then see what happens if you change the degrees and how many times. So there are 360 degrees in a circle. That's how I was able to get these numbers. If you take 360 and divide it by how many times you're doing it, that's the angle that you want to do. So if you want something to happen in a pentagon is 5 sides. 360 divided by 5 is 72. Okay, let's see if this creates a pentagon. Oh, it failed. It drove off the edge. So what I might have to do is I might have to have my robot drive out to the center first. So what I'll have it do is I'll drive forward for, let's see, if I did like 1,000 and then take a right, drive forward again for 1,000 and then draw my pentagon. Will it work then? We'll have to see. Oh, I probably shouldn't have drawn the pen right out there. So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to refresh it, scooch this out of the way. Boop. Don't want any of that, but I don't want to lose it all. I don't want to have the pen down until after here. So I'm going to have, but I have to tell the computer when I want the pen up or down. Move robot pen up, and then I'll move it down. So now let's see. Oh, you know what? I'll drive faster too because I don't want to waste. So I'm going to set my velocity to 100% and do this a little bit faster. Play. It's going fast, and now it should start to draw my pentagon. Cool. There it is. So the reason that worked, folks, okay, is because I was able to figure out 360, because that's how many degrees are in a circle, 360, and I divided that by 5 because that's how many sides I wanted, and that was I was able to figure out my degrees. This portion up here had my robot drive to the center. This is what does the actual drawing, so that's why I have my pen down there. Pretty stinking cool. All right, guys, so if you could for today with your robot, you're gonna update your portfolio. Yesterday, make sure that you crashed into at least one of the castles on Castle Crasher. And today, your job is to at least do task 1, where you drive in a square. See if you can get to do the polygon where you draw different sides. I'll add my code to my page just so you can see my example code. And then also if you want to try to draw your initials, that's another cool thing you can do. All right, happy coding, folks. Good luck and enjoy another day of VEX virtual robot coding.